Make it
Truth Frequency Radio.
Broadcasting straight to you from a large spaceship, currently in silent running mode, listening for the faintest whisper of any scientist in any field who is willing to step forward and challenge the flat Earth. But you're not going to hear anything, because they're all afraid. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which propose that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure thousands of miles wide. Check it out at marksargent.com, enclosedworld.com, or just Google Flat Earth Clues. If you can't find it, that's because you're fleeing whatever country you're living in right now because of who just got elected. For those of you listening to this on YouTube and want to hear the show live as it happens, please go to Truth Frequency Radio for the latest schedule. Currently, this show is on Tuesday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, and tonight is November 22nd, a Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Quote of the day from the Peanut Gallery: "Science, my boy, is made up of mistakes, but they are mistakes which it is useful to make because they lead little by little to the truth." That's from Jules Verne, who wrote, among other things, Journey to the Center of the Earth. Quite appropriate, I might add. We are going to take calls tonight, and we're going to read some emails. But before I take the first call, I do want to get at least one email out of the way, and I will tell you about it in just a second here. The phone number, I'm not even going to give you the phone number until I'm done with this email. This email was written to me, but it was a joint email. It was also written to Eric Dubé at the same time, and I mentioned that because just about the same time I got this email, I was looking at two different I was going to recommend two different Flat Earth videos, which I thought were really outstanding. One, of course, was just by Eric Dubé, and I know I should do this at the top of the hour at Flat Earth News. And maybe I will. I'll do it there, too. But Eric Dubé made a great rap video against Joe Rogan. Thought it was outstanding. But anyway, this guy wrote me. His name's Chris LeBlanc, and he wrote me a letter, and I'm going to read this to you. I want to get through this email. It's not going to take that long, and then you guys can call in, okay? So it starts out, "Hi, Mark." I'll read his little intro as well. "I put this on Eric's YouTube, but it'll probably not get read. Was an impulse response to his rap video, but it applies to you as well. As I say below, I'm not entirely a believer, but I'm a big fan of his and your work and presentations on this material. I listened to a Christian astrophysicist named Hugh Ross, and he absolutely does not believe the Earth is flat. He bases his entire reasons to believe in Christ lessons on his experiences as an astrophysicist, and he uses something called anthropic principles to make his case. Basically, those are conditions that exist in the universe and here on Earth prove that intelligent design must have taken place to make things 100% possible for advanced human life to exist. The last question below is directed at a collaboration between you and Eric, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on that and all of this. Thanks for reading, Chris." And so the letter starts out, and again, it's not that long. "Eric, I've watched your videos and those of Mark Sargent's, and I'm not convinced, but I love your presentation of what you've learned. I do think this is an excellent exercise in critical thinking, and this type of questioning is what should be done at all levels of everything we do. Where I agree with you is that we're not told everything. We all know the terrible things that governments will do to further their own ends. Non-transparency does nothing but torment those of us that question everything. Is there a way to get a credible scientist to scrutinize your findings and follow the scientific method from start to finish? Probably not, since their careers would be ruined for the association with this. This is true, by the way. Like pilots with UFOs. He's taking a page out of my book. But besides the general call out for people to disprove all of this, has an attempt been made to get experts within their field to put things to clinical tests? Yes, I can actually answer that. That's true. We actually have called out people to do tests. There's got to be someone out there, even if they are staunch non-believers, to put their own data out in direct comparison to what you've gathered up. BOB went public, but offered up so little evidence that people like Neil were able to make him look like a fool with a silly presentation and a mic drop. I disagree, but that's all right. Your opinion. You would almost think he was planted to achieve just that effect. I disagree in that. I mean, BOB did a lot for this cause so far, in my opinion. There are a few areas that have me on the fence about this. One, eclipses haven't been thoroughly put to rest for me. I just can't seem to be satisfied with the answers I get on that. And I'll try to answer these on the fly. Look into Jeffrey Grupp's work on zeticism.com or his YouTube page, or Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole by David Weiss, otherwise known as DITRH. That'll give you a really good jump on it. And, look at Jeranism stuff or Bob's stuff from Glowbusters. Two, if the moon is a flat disk or luminary, why does it always face you no matter where you go? A ball would do that, but a flat disk would eventually start to skew, like watching a TV from the side, unless the system that, remember, because if it is a planetarium, then, it's going to be a very, very good planetarium, and it's not going to skew it up above. I know our planetariums slightly skew it when the moon goes from one side of the room to the other, but, how tough would it be for an advanced civilization? I don't think very tough. Three, the guy from My Perspective, that's Rory Cooper, by the way, was talking about being a trained meteorologist and said that technically the air we breathe is a liquid, which is true, although much less dense than groundwater and rain. That being said, if the air is most dense down here at ground level, it very well could carry us along with it as the world spins. Weather, animals in flight, etc., would also be subject to this liquid moving along with the Earth's spin. I'd like to see someone do the data to see if the air density, liquid density, is truly appropriate to carry things along with it at such an intense velocity as the Earth spins. Interesting thought. Four, there are planes in the world that can travel to Europe from the United States in about 8 minutes. No, not true. Even the SR, yeah, here we go. My friend here at work was in the Navy and was a mechanic on the SR-71 Blackbird when it was first produced. He said to achieve top speeds, they have to go very, very high where the atmosphere is thinner. This either means that, and I gotta correct him here real quick. The SR-71, I happen to know a few things about that plane, at least the public things. And that was, yeah, you could cross Montana in about 8 minutes, but you're not crossing the country in 8 minutes. It's very, very fast, but it's not, what's the word for it? Ultrasonic. It's not traveling at Mach 20. Remember, the speed of sound is only, what was it, sea level? It's 700 and something miles an hour. So Mach 2, 1400, Mach 3, 2100. That's 2,100 miles in an hour. 8 minutes, that's not a lot of time. Anyway, sorry. The reason they can go fast is due to larger engines and lower air density. True. Where the world is spinning and combined with the lower end density, they escape the pole-long effect and fly along against the spin of the Earth. No, not true. There is no spin. That being said, Joe Rogan the Peanut Gallery did chime in and say that the SR-71 publicly tops out at about Mach 3, roughly. Maybe, but it doesn't really matter because the SR-71's been decommissioned for a long time, and range 3,355 miles. Yeah, again, public. The Aurora project is much more fascinating if you look that up, because that hasn't even been publicly announced, and all the super nerds are saying that the new Aurora spy plane is running on some sort of slush kerosene. and is using a pulse detonation engine, which doesn't even have to, go full speed, doesn't have to be cranked all out, and it creates this weird trail called Donut on a Rope, where there's these bursts, and those bursts are so powerful it carries the plane along, without this constant thrust. And anyway, it's fascinating. Anyway, that being said, Joe Rogan did say something that made sense during one of his less instigatory, Jesus, I do not use those words often, moments in the paleo interview. So we have to give his words some thought, simply to be fair and take the higher road. Well, yeah, but Joe Rogan's a jerk. He mentioned that these documentaries, and this is not germane to yours, is that the presenter can present whatever he or she wishes without interruption. This gives the viewer the ability to look at the entire body of work, which in turn can impose the disposition of the presenter by the end of the video. He simplifies that sentiment by simply saying that the present goes unchecked. The presentation goes unchecked is what I think he meant to say. Not picking up that call yet, 306. Still got to finish this email. This is why the History Channel is so successful with their fake documentaries like the Mega Shark one that pissed everyone off. This brings me back to my earlier statement that in order for this conversation to step out of the conspiracy level to conspiracy fact level or beyond, it would require a live discussion face-to-face with both a fact-armed believer, such as yourself or Mark Sargent, and a skeptic who is equally equipped with facts. Both sides could come from objective beginning and not a predisposition of either case. Non-related question, have you ever considered doing a joint presentation with Mark Sargent? Is he among the ranks of your Flat Earth Collaborative? Yes, this guy, when he wrote this, did not know that Eric hates me. Or is he a standalone doing his own research? I'm very curious if I've ever missed an interview with you both, or if there's any plans in the works. Thanks for listening to my thoughts, Chris. Thank you, Chris, for writing that. And no, Eric will probably... it was saying it's a cold day in hell before Eric will probably work with me, because even though I reach out the olive branch, he won't do it. So let's take our first call from 306 area code. You are on live with A Strange World right now. Hello? Uh-oh. I picked him up. All right, am I on air right now? Peanut Gallery, can you hear me? Peanut Gallery. And anyone hear me right now? Oh, good, excellent. I'm trying to receive calls, and for whatever reason, I cannot link the call in at the moment. Not exactly sure why. I picked up answer, but I couldn't answer group call. So, yeah, sorry, 306, I can't pick you up right now, and I don't know why. It is not letting me, having a few issues. So add people to this call. Let's try this one. Add to this call. How about now? 306? Nope, 306 still not picking up. Can't pick them up. Don't know why. Hopefully other people will call in. I tried to pick up 306 and it would not do it. But that's okay, guys. We're just going to keep rolling along. So let's go to the next email in the meantime. This one is from Elohim. I don't think that's his real name. Elohim. Dear Mark, I found your website only 4 days ago, whereas I am looking for the Flat Earth since 1 month now. I am really proud to have doubt about the round Earth, NASA, and the United States. I speak with a lot of closed people on YouTube, and if I truly believe we are on a flat Earth, I cannot explain the difference between the stars and the sky. Everyone asks me why the sky is not the same in the south and the north. I speak with 2 professors in France, and they always tell me the same question. Could you please make them understand why this difference? I don't know what country you're from, but your English isn't horrible. Continue your work, dear Mark. You are a leader for us with Enki, Alan Duke, and Pierre Rabbi, and the other great people we can have on this enclosed world. Truly yours. I am convinced of your demonstration. I hope the truth will be revealed one day, Elohim. And yeah, sorry, 306, I can't pick you up right now because for whatever reason, I am not being allowed to do a group call. So maybe I'll be able to do it after the break, but right now I can't do it. I've tried. Like I even go in and I say, add people to this call, and I say pick this and I say add to call, and then it does nothing on enough. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. It said not enough. It doesn't really matter. Well, we're gonna keep cranking along. No worries, guys. This one's from Bridget. Bridget? Dear Mark, I am a homeschooling mom. While covering the topic of gravity and its related issues about the Earth and space, my son posed some very good questions that needed some research. We were not satisfied with the science of it all because there were too many inconsistencies and contradictions. I am now a flat earther. It didn't take a whole lot to convince me since I am Christian and I never could wrap my head around the globe Earth and the science that goes with it anyway. I feel quite liberated now that I have overcome that cognitive dissonance. My husband asked about meteorites, falling stars, and comments. I haven't been at this very long, but I haven't come across anything yet that covers these. What are they? And how are these explained? As far as meteorites, fallen stars, and comets, they are just part of the system. You know, we're not simulating them. I don't believe anyway. I believe they are part of the enclosed system, and that the beings or divine being or whatever you want to call it that built this place, it's just part of the process. It's a subtle reinforcement tool that gives the illusion that we're out in space. Let's see. We're always watching the skies, and we actually go to the highest field when there are meteor showers and watch them. It's like movie night for us. We live in rural Iowa, and we can see for miles in the dark from the field. It's awesome. I listened to one of your Q&A videos, so I'm hoping you can help me out here. I don't know what your religious thought is, but I believe there is a dome firmament of some kind, like the Bible says. My husband is open-minded to all this, but he is not there where I am with all this. I'm sure he will be once he takes the time to research it himself. That is where the issue of the comets and falling stars comes into play. I'm trying to figure out where they are coming from and what they are, if there is a dome in the firmament. Can you please help me here? Could you please email me back? I would appreciate any info you have on this or links to articles, videos, etc. Thank you for putting this information out there for those of us who have questioned this all of our lives. I know it must be a great sacrifice. We do not discuss this outside our home because people are so rabid about the subject. Sincerely, Bridget Ellis. Thank you, Bridget. And yes, the phone number to call in, guys, and I'm going to give you the number out. I'm hoping this thing's going to kick in eventually. I don't know what the deal is right now. It is 720-897-6111. That is 720-897-6111. Operators are standing by. Maybe. If I can get this sucker to work, I might be able to sort of do a workaround for it. But right now, when somebody calls, like 306 keeps badgering me. When I even go in and say, add people to this call, and I choose him, and I say add to call, it just puts him up there, but nothing happens. So there's not much I can do there. So sorry, man. So I just have to hang up on him, and then it doesn't take. It just says call failed. Don't know why. Every once in a while this happens, but not on the PC that I'm on at the moment. Anyway, let's see. Next email. We're just going to keep going through emails. I got lots, guys. And who knows? If I get through enough emails, maybe I don't have to do an email show this week. Christine writes, hey, Mark, I love your videos. It took me a while to grasp all of this, and now that I'm on board, I see a video that kind of stumps me. Can you please watch the first few minutes of this video and help me out? They are disproving the Apollo moon landings, and there is a fake picture displayed showing the Earth in the background is a real view of Earth, and it looks round. Is it possible that views of the Earth as a circle would still appear round from space? When would we be able to see two-dimensional view of the Earth? Just because you see round doesn't mean it's a globe. I'm confused. Please explain. Watch the video. It happens within the first few minutes. And there's the link. I'm pretty sure she's watching the Bart Sobrell. Funny thing happened on the way to the moon. That whole thing, where there were astronauts. They were in a capsule supposedly. Now, initially, I bought into this too because it absolutely just blows the moon stuff out of the water, but it makes it look like we were faking pictures of the Earth from low Earth orbit. What I'm saying is that even that video was just another layer of deception, and that people were that even that was leaked to at the very least pull people back and say, well, at least we can get into low Earth orbit. But I'm saying that's not even possible. And that was a very clever video because, yeah, destroyed that video itself. It was like NASA was destroying their own Apollo program. But at the same time, they were reinforcing low Earth orbit. Very clever, in my opinion. Let's see here. Paul writes. Paul, that's a funny name. Hi, Mark. I'm contacting you here as I don't have your email. This supermoon we saw on the 14th would make a good topic for one of your videos. I believe it is proof of the idiotic thinking that NASA and the astronomical societies media demonstrate. They are telling us that the moon was at its closest in 69 years, but this cannot be the explanation. I was watching the moon each night for the days leading up to the supermoon, and it appeared as normal and the same size it always is. I can tell because of the photos I take, and comparing these against previous shots, all taken from the same point, same camera settings. It was only on the 14th of November that the moon appeared larger and hence closer. The media are saying that it came closer to Earth on that one day, but this cannot be the case. As with the heliocentric model of the Earth, the moon orbits once a month, not once a day. Therefore, the moon had to jump suddenly down towards the Earth, do its once-a-day orbit, according to the media, or according to heliocentrics, sit stationary for a 24-hour period at a lower orbit, and then jump back to its normal orbit for the remainder of the month. The moon is back to its normal size now. So this proves that the heliocentric model is incorrect, as the moon cannot jump closer to Earth and then go back to its normal orbit the next day. Maybe. I don't know, though. I mean, you might be jumping to conclusions. See what I did there? However, on the flat Earth model, which demonstrates that the moon circles once a day, that something changed during this cycle. Maybe it did come a bit closer for its 24-hour circle, or maybe the object we think is the moon expanded slightly for 24 hours, or its power source caused a temporary glitch. I really don't know. What I do know is I would love to watch your explanation, as I have loved watching your other explanations. Cheers, Paul. Yeah, Paul, I will dig into this a little bit. I've been pretty busy, but I will do what I can with this thing, if that's possible. One other thing, by the way, if you're calling in your phone number, I'm trying to troubleshoot this as we're doing this on air. It could be that you're calling my normal phone number, which is 303-494-6631, which is my cell phone. And if you call that number, I've got that actually routed through this computer. And I don't know if Skype's going to let me merge those calls. So do call the studio number, which is 720-897-6111. Okay? All right. I got a few minutes to the break left. Let's do another email. Let's do Jeannie B. writes, Jeff Renz featured a podcast on November 14th with Yoichi. She actually pronounced it for me, where Yoichi states he's gone to New Zealand prior to EQ, prior to the equator maybe, and had taken his dosimeter with him. Surprisingly, he found elevated readings on the east coast of the South Island, suggesting someone is dumping nuclear waste in the Antarctic Ocean. Yoichi was looking forward to eating fish again, thinking New Zealand would be the least contaminated area in the lower hemisphere, and then finds radiation almost at an unacceptable level. Second subject, if the world is flat, as I believe, why would Donald Trump continue the farce of expanding NASA? Wouldn't they have told him the truth? Jeannie B. First thing, yeah, the radiation. Very, very interesting story, especially with the earthquake near Japan, and a little bit. It was a tidal wave, but it wasn't very big. It wasn't. They should probably qualify how big tidal waves are, because a tidal wave can literally be, a tidal wave, which can only be 3 feet high. So, yeah, the radiation, very, very interesting story. Hopefully, it does not. We'll find out soon enough if it starts expanding any further than that. As far as Donald Trump finding out, tough to say. They let presidents in on some stuff. Remember, presidents are just frontmen. They don't tell them much. They tell them some stuff, but they don't tell them much, because the less he knows, the better, because then it's not going to slip. The president of the United States is not the most powerful man in the world. Again, remember that Eisenhower, if you believe the story, and I do, Eisenhower wasn't even told about Area 51 where they were building it, and he was the most powerful general in the world at one point. And as soon as he became president, it's like, oh, no, you're a civilian. You don't get to know anything. And he was kind of upset about that. So everybody since then, I think presidents have known less and less, because that way they don't slip on camera. So there you go. Do we have time for one more? I think we do. This one's from Mike. Hi, Mark. I don't know if you've seen this trailer for the Boston bombing movie or not. As soon as I saw it, I remembered you telling of the conditioning through the media. Here it is. Really like your show and keep up the good flat work, Mike, out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Yeah. Check out the Boston bombing movie trailer. Yeah, Boston bombing, Sandy Hook, Pearl Harbor, JFK. Just about if it's any major media event that isn't a car crash, chances are it's staged for some sort of reason. And I don't. Yeah, a bomb went off at the Boston bombing, but I know a few things about pyrotechnics, let me tell you, and other explosives. If anyone has any doubt of that, watch the first couple of Strange World episodes. You'll hear my fun little escapades when I was younger. And Boston bombing, no different. It's just a piece of junk. So. We're going to go to break here in just a minute. Phone number to call in is 720-897-6111. That phone number again is 720-897-6111. We're going to do emails. Let's do a quick shout out to any scientist in any field. Come get me. I'm right here. Where are you?
Hello, my old friend. How are you today?
Fine, it's time for a daily chess match. Are you ready?
Yes. My last move yesterday was a 3 from
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. TLR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World. I'm your host, Mark Sargent. This is part 2 of 4. We are reading emails and trying to answer calls, but at the moment, for whatever reason, cannot add to group call on this sucker. Don't know why, but we'll keep plugging away at it over the next hour and a half. And if we can't do it, we can't do it. No big deal. It's not the end of the world. That comes later. Let's just keep going on with the emails. This one's from Ed McGugan out of Texas. Good evening, Mr. Sargent. Thank you for your videos. They have been very informative. Been looking into this topic for a few months now and just can't seem to let it go. I've asked a few questions of my engineers regarding the engineering we do on our buildings to determine the effect of flat or spherical Earth. My position is that of technical manager, so I look after a number of structural engineers. The upshot is that there is absolutely no accommodation for a curved surface. As a matter of fact, our buildings could not be built on anything but a flat plane within a maximum of 2% slope, which is not much. So I have a flat earth map on the wall of my office, and I tell my people that it is to remind me to develop a different perspective, which is absolutely true, of course. Wonder what else I've been wrong about. Keep it up, eh? Ed in Texas. Awesome, Ed. 502 area code. I can try to pick you up, and then I'm going to have to try to merge the call. We can do it if you want. We can troubleshoot this sucker right now. All right, am I on air now? Peanut Gallery, can you hear me? Sorry, guys, I'm going to have to edit this in post. All right. Okay, I'm back on. Sorry about that, guys. I've been trying to troubleshoot this thing for a few minutes. I'm going to not troubleshoot it anymore. So, hello, Mark. It's Peter from Tennessee. I called you tonight about the jet experiment where I could watch a plane passing overhead for 20 minutes. 167 miles should be a 2% drop. I've watched some of your videos. I appreciate your open perspective and your Bible-based examinations. The Bible is stone, so whatever we can learn from it is gold. I just heard in one of your YouTube interview videos that you had been a hollow earther. The Bible mentions a hollow place over the north, but as far as as for another separately existing civilization, it seems hard to believe. Really? I don't know. Is anything out of bounds now? And that singular mention is the only one I know of in the Bible. I'm only asking what's your take on hollow earth. I haven't studied it much for myself, but it could be that Admiral Byrd is BSing. I'm interested in setting up experiments for jets. Wi-Fi is offered on flights now, allowing for easy text to ground for verification. Please inform me of the most pressing info, as I know you're an expert. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, Peter, when it comes to, hopefully you've dug into more of my stuff on the hollow earth, because that's how I got into this. I started out as a hollow earther, and then just as I was casually browsing for Admiral Byrd, that's when I found out about what was going on down in Antarctica and how much he spent all of his time. And really, most of his work was done in Antarctica. The hollow earth just seems like a small part of his youth by comparison. So no, I don't think he was BSing at all. I think they picked the right guy. He was the guy to go down there, and he was looking for the outer marker for the better part of 30 years, from 1928 all the way up until 1956. You got to remember, he died in 1957. So yeah, that's my take on it. Hollow Earth. Do I think Hollow Earth conflicts with Flat Earth? No, I don't. I just mean that Hollow Earth, because remember, our civilization lives in a very narrow band from sea level to about 1 mile up. That's only about 5,000 feet. That's 95% of the people that you know. So when it comes to Hollow Earth, how much room do you need down there? Not much. Even if it was 100 miles high, that'd be way more room than you need for most things. So it was, 200, 300 miles high, even better. But you don't need an entire hollow Earth to pull off a civilization underneath the ground. So that's my take on it for now. Let's see. This one is from Jeff. Jeff writes, "Hello, I'm a new flat earther since a few days only. Thanks to your videos and others, I'd like to bring once more proof that the Earth doesn't spin with what is used actually to prove that the Earth is rotating. I'm talking about the Foucault's pendulum. I don't know if you know that experiment. Yes, I do. Let me explain it briefly to you. We can go to the North Pole and put a giant pendulum is attached to a high room in a high building and is set in motion, oscillating. When we come back a few hours later, the pendulum seems to have moved. In fact, the pendulum is stationary and the Earth was supposed to rotate underneath. Science guys say that it is the absolute proof that the Earth is rotating, but there is one problem. If being in the air is enough to be freed from the Earth rotation, then planes would just hover vertically, wait 1 hour, and they would be 1,000 miles away. Of course, this doesn't happen, and if the atmosphere is supposed to be stuck in the sphere, then the pendulum would rotate with the Earth, making it oscillating on the same axis and virtually immobile. That's why the Foucault's pendulum proves the Earth isn't rotating. That's my 2 cents. Let me know what you think. Have a good day in Christ, Jeff." Thank you, Jeff. And yeah, it's a good one. I like it. Do I think it's the silver bullet that'll explain everything to everybody? No, but it's a good one for people that throw that out. And honestly, not that many people throw out the pendulum as an argument, in my opinion, anyway. So let's get back to more emails. And who knows? Maybe my machine. I rebooted this thing recently too. It doesn't matter. The Kevin Smith Show. That's the title of the email. Kevin died. Not Kevin Smith, the director that directed Mallrats and Chasing Amy and stuff like that. This is a different guy. Kevin died a few years back, and his show ran for many years. Monday through Friday, live, 2-hour call-in radio show. Kevin's show started at the same time as yours. I enjoy calling at that time of night after the kids have gone to bed. He gave me a link to it. Thanks for all that you have taught me about the flat Earth. And that's Tony from Denver. Thanks, Tony. That's awesome. Let's see. James writes... And James Witherington. Sorry, James. Please don't release my name. Thanks. Okay, it wasn't James. Absolutely wasn't James. I'm so sorry. Hello, I bought sorry, I was reading the bottom of the email, and then as I scrolled up, it said an asterisk, please don't release my name. You know what? Just, you're going to have to roll the dice with when you send that stuff to me, because, you know, I don't read these emails in advance. So his name absolutely wasn't James. I bought a Nikon Coolpix P900 recently. I also bought the Thousand Oaks black polymer film to take some pics of the sun. Before the sun pics, I was taking pics of the moon. I observed pictures taken early at sunset. It had a major crater in it, if looking at a clock at about the 4 to 5 hour position. But when I took another pic later on the night, 4 or 5 hours later, the whole moon would have tilted, thus making the crater at about the 8 o'clock area. No problem, science says. The moon rotates around the Earth, and the Earth is spinning, so no problem here. Then I started taking pics of the sun. This camera is amazing. I saw sunspots. Then I thought, if the sun runs a circuit like the moon, as the Bible says, the sunspot should change as well, right? Well, Saturday I took a picture of the sun at around 10 a.m. Central Time. Then I took another pic about 3:45. The sun, if looking straight south, had moved a considerable distance in the sky. I would suppose about as much as the moon had regarding the craters. So to get to the point of what I'm presenting here, the sunspot had moved from the left side of the middle of the sun to the right side. You can go into properties of the pictures, and it gives all the info regarding the taking of the pics. The sun is millions of miles away and is, for all intents and purposes, stationary. The sunspots would be pretty much in the same place, right? I mean, we're told the sun is so huge. How is it possible the sunspots moved that far in only 5 hours and 45 minutes? I Googled sunspots, and according to Wikipedia, it says, individual sunspots may endure anywhere from a few days to a few months, but eventually decay. Sunspots expand and contract as they move across the surface of the sun, with sizes ranging from 16 kilometers to 160,000 kilometers in diameter. The larger variety are visible from Earth without the aid of a telescope. They may travel at relative speeds or proper motions of a few hundred meters per second when they first emerge. So a few hundred meters per second, just to be fair, I gave them 500 meters a second, is 0.31 miles, or 18 miles an hour. Or over 100 miles for the first 5.45 hours I'm talking about, according to space.com. I don't know if you got that right. 500 meters a second, I think no, 500 meters a second actually is quite fast. Peanut Gallery, do the math on that. 500 meters per second is how many meters in an hour? But it doesn't matter. It's, 5 hours. It still shouldn't be, an amazing amount of distance. The sun is nearly a perfect sphere. Its equatorial diameter and its polar diameter differ by only 6.2 miles, or 10 kilometers. This means the radius of the sun is 432,000 and change miles, 696,000 kilometers, which makes its diameter around 864,000 miles, or 1.392 million kilometers. You could line up 109 Earths across the face of the sun, if you believe mainstream science. The sun's circumference is about 2.7 million miles. Wow, 432,000 miles across. Okay, so that means, is that 1,800 miles an hour, Peanut Gallery? Is that right? 1,800 miles an hour? Or is that, yeah, 1,800 miles an hour. Yeah. So 5 hours, yeah, it's still not enough. I mean, 5 hours, that's still less than 10,000 miles. So, yeah, considering the sun is 400,000 miles across, absolutely. So, let me see here. Where was I on this thing? So, let's see. Well, I might be from Louisiana, but when I do my ciphering, it sure looks like the sunspot went way over the distance. He normally said 100 miles, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, and there's add to group call. Let's see if this works. You are on live with Strange World right now. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? I said add, and it says he's there, but it says that it's just anybody? Answering this call. Oh, it says call failed. Am I still on? Still on, right? Still on air. That's weird. Somebody called, and I got the button that said add to group call, but it just sat there and did nothing as I was talking and probably sounding dumb. But that's okay. We're just going to keep plugging away with this thing. All right. So let's see. And now it says, yeah, now you're calling in 714, and now it says I can't add you. Answering this call, put the call on hold. That's weird. I mean, I said add to group call before, and it just ignored you. It just kept ringing in my ear. So sorry, man. But people do feel free to keep trying. Anyway, so this guy's basically saying that the sunspots moved way further than they should have, considering it was only 5.45 hours later. So what was the explanation? He goes, I'm submitting these pics. He sent me some pics as evidence to my theory, and I did look at them, and he did show that the sunspots moved from one side to the other a really great distance. It was hard for me to visualize how this worked in my head, so that helped me to take a CD with an X at or near the edge, hold it above your head, blah, blah, blah. And, so if you see I'm chasing wild rabbits here, please let me know. No, I don't think so. I think you're onto something. If the sun is 400 and something thousand miles across, then the sunspots should take quite a while to get across. 5 hours, I don't think. I don't know the rotation of the sun, but 5 hours, that's not a lot of time, I would think, for a 400,000 mile journey. Anyway, update. I took a picture best I could on every hour. Last Saturday, the sunspots rotated around the sun like a minute hand on a clock. I'm putting them in a GIF file to show movement of the spots and post on YouTube. This makes no sense in a ball Earth. It's possible. Again, do I think it's a silver bullet? No, I don't. But it's, again, I love the energy, and I love where you're going with this. So cool, man. Thank you. Let's see. Joseph writes, I had a frustrating day with some ballers and decided to make a meme. Please use it if you can on one of your slides. I love the flat horizon in the background, don't you? And it's Jerry Maguire, and there's some profanity, and this is from Joseph in Ames, Iowa. Jerry Maguire, where he's got the flat background in the windows behind him, and instead of show me the money, it's show me the effing curvature. Awesome. I don't think I'm going to use it in the slide. I can't really use profanity in slides, but it's good. I like it. Thank you. Thank you for throwing it at me. Kat writes, hello, I watched your Flat Earth documentary, and I really liked it. I believe it because I was out in the Mojave Desert on the interstate, and I saw the lights of Las Vegas from 100 miles away. How could that be possible if the Earth was a sphere? Please read my story on my conversion to Christianity at, Accept Jesus at WordPress.com. It's a really amazing story. I really need more people to share it. I hope you like it. Take care, and God bless. Well, bye. People, if you want to go see it, go see it. And yes, the flat Earth. I'm not downplaying this, guys. It's just that I've heard this so much over the last year and a half that there's a lot of people. The flat Earth does bring people to spirituality. Why? Because if it was created, then there was a creator, and if there is a creator, well, then there's probably been somebody looking over your shoulder since the very beginning. Which means you got to be on your best behavior. And, don't be mean, because no matter where you go, there you are. Chris Rowe writes, check out the license plate I'm getting for Virginia. It even has the NASA logo from Christopher Rose. And yeah, Christopher sent me and I'll use this for, it'll be in the slides, but it's a Virginia license plate. And he got one with the NASA logo, and it's only 6 letters in Virginia. So he's got ITS FLT, and it's got the NASA logo to the left, and it says Langley Research Center at the top. So that's awesome. Hopefully those guys will get a kick out of it as well. But yeah, I'm gonna use that slide. So yeah, remember, anyone that's got license plates out there, I think at the very least you get 6 letters and sometimes 7, depending on what state you're getting. And mine, I have it's flat ITS FLAT. And so far, we've got, I think, 5 or 6 states. Check out the slideshow at the beginning of this to see which ones have already been chosen. I think we've got Montana, Nevada, Illinois, Washington, Virginia, Iowa, and a couple in Texas. The motorcycle one in Texas. It's flat has not been chosen officially for the car in Texas. So yeah, check it out. And see what. Remember, exclusive club. And you'll confuse people that drive up behind you because they will not know what they're looking at. I've had tons of people looking at my plate, just going. I can see them, lip reading it behind me. And it's like it's flat. What does that mean? Is it a cult? I don't know. So Dan writes, Mark, I dug this 3-year-old speech that shows the reasons for the high priority Kerry has down there along the with the real data from New Zealand, and it's about Kerry's going down to Antarctica, and there's a new treaty put in place where they're sealing off even from fishing boats most of the Antarctic coastline, so you can't even go there with anywhere near it. They're just putting more and more layers of stuff that's down there. If anyone wants to look it up, there's some YouTube videos. Just look up John Kerry fairly recent. Remember, he was not in the country when the election took place. I would have thought the Secretary of State would have wanted to be in the country during the election, but he wasn't. He was literally as far away as you could get. So, Lego Brick. No, it's not Lego Brick. That's just his handle. His real name is David. Hi, Mark. It's David from Leith, as in teeth, Scotland. Nice. Thanks for reading my last email out. A man of your word, rare in today's media. It seems that it's getting harder to find shows that are not just rehashes of your own work these days. I recently watched John the Morgile's shows, which I thought were excellent. The cognitive dissonance of the truth we already know, yet trained to ignore. We fret about convergence of astronauts' shadows when they would be a greasy pool somewhere in the high atmosphere. Nice. Let alone how our vulnerable little ball survives the vacuum of space where no one can hear you laugh. Apparently, I'm sure you're aware lots of your stuff on there. We can only do what we know and know what we learn. Stay strong. Many thanks, David. Awesome, David. That's great. All right, what's this one? This one's from Tad Wooten. Tad writes, instead of flying over Antarctica, why not leave from the most southern part in Puerto Williams, Chile, in an icebreaker ship and head due southwest and then south to circumvent around Antarctica and see what happens? Oh, never mind. The attached Google map shows that it would be impossible to do that. I am 37 years old and always thought we lived on a globe, and I'm here trying to debunk you, but au contraire, mon frère. Jesus. He actually wrote that. It looks like you've debunked the globe. Even if we lived on a flat Earth, I feel it would not debunk our solar system other than how suns and stars transit their planets that are flat disk shape or Earth spins like a coin, since we know gravity keeps everything from flying around. So maybe it would still be feasible to be able to explore our own galaxy and others within the universe with probes and spaceships. Satellites would still be able to rotate around above flat Earth's atmosphere. Who knows how high the dome is? Maybe high enough to contain all the planets in our solar system. I don't know, Mark. I'm tired and my brain is fried from all this, but I like it. Keep up the good work. Sincerely, Tad Wooten, and his quote is, educate, coach, and show. P.S. Titanium is used on many high-altitude aircraft, satellites, and spacecraft. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Tad. And 701's trying to call in, and unfortunately, I cannot pick up the call. It will not. You know what I'll do? During the next break, guys? I will kill Skype. For anyone that's trying to call in right now, and that number, of course, is 720-897-6111, I will kill Skype entirely and bring it back up during the next break, which is in 4 minutes and change, and then we'll see if we can get some calls. So, I apologize. Technical issues outside of my normal control, although it could be my own fault because I tend to, when I do Skype calls with some of my closest friends, they tend to be long, and who knows, maybe that's what was doing it. But I can't remember if I rebooted the machine today. So, sorry. We'll work on it, though. Don't worry. We'll get there. John writes, sorry, Mark, I seem to have misplaced the survival guide you sent me. Mind sending me another when you have a minute? Is it linked on your site somewhere? And I've just overlooked it. Cheers, John. Well, actually, the survival guide, which is called Empty Shelves, which I wrote after the Katrina disaster, debacle, whatever you want to call it, the hurricane that hit Louisiana some years ago. I did a webpage called, crap, I can't remember what it's called now because I shut it down so long ago. UrbanSurvivalUSA.com. And I put a thing on there called Empty Shelves, and it's a survival guide. It's PDF. It's free. Because look, if it helps you, if it helps save even one life, isn't it worth it? So if anyone wants it, you can just email me and just put in the tagline, somewhere in the title. It's like, yeah, want survival guide or want guide or PDF file or whatever you want. I'll know what you mean, and I'll just send it. It's only 2 megs, and it shouldn't fit in just about any email system, and it's about 100 pages long. And it covers just about everything. Now, it was written normally for Americans because Americans don't like prepping for crap. I mean, yeah, there's some survivalists here, sure, but the majority of the population doesn't prepare for anything. And by that, I mean, I don't want to go off on, I've read part of the survival guide in some of my early Strange World shows. You can look them up on YouTube or on Truth Frequency Radio or marksargent.com. But what I'm getting at is that most people don't prepare. And I think it's hypocritical, because if you buy insurance for anything, if you have health insurance and life insurance and car insurance and boat insurance and insurance for your family, and it goes on and on and on, then why don't you just get a couple cases of bottled water and some cans of food and just put them in the basement somewhere, and some batteries, maybe a couple flashlights, and rotate them around every once in a while. It doesn't cost that much. And I know it takes a little effort to put them in a container and stuff, but I kind of walk you through it. And this guide is actually, designed for, even if you completely ignored me and you happen to print out the guide before the power went out. It's not designed for any one particular disaster. It's designed for generic disasters. So if the power goes out for an extended period of time, this will help you. Totally free. Just ask for it. I'm not asking for any donations or anything like that. It's yours. Just print it out. That's all I'm asking. Just print it out before something bad happens. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is you put it on the cloud. That would be the ultimate. Because you put it on the cloud, the power goes out, the cloud goes down, and you're going, oh, I got a survival guide, which is on the cloud. So now I don't. So, I mean, at the very least, load it locally on your machine or something. Anyway, that's my rant, my survival rant for the night. Sorry if it seems like I was going off. We're going to break here in another minute. Let's read this anyway. This is from Sergeant Robert Malcolm Kane, retired, Cornwall, England. Dear Mark, I've just watched your video on YouTube about the flat earth. I'm ex-military. I've seen a lot of strange things myself. I have a couple questions. First, your video blew my mind. If the world is a dome, what's outside of the dome? Well, I think it's an unlimited dimension. What about the UFO conspiracy phenomenon? Are there extraterrestrials? I do think there's stuff flying around there out there. I don't think they're from other planets. I think they're in here with us. And the million-dollar question, who made it? I'll take your pick. It's either God or someone that God subcontracted the work out to. There you go. Got that one right under the wire. All right, guys. We'll see if we can fix this phone thing before the next break, okay?
You are now tuned into the Truth Frequency.
We are TFR. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 3 of 4. Do be sure to check out my free site, enclosedworld.com, my subscription site, marksargent.com. The book is Flat Earth Clues. The audiobook is Flat Earth Clues. You can find that on Amazon and Audibles and other fine boutiques. And let's do Flat Earth News real quick. And all I'm doing is I'm going into YouTube. I'm typing in Flat Earth or the Earth is Flat, your choice. I'm setting the filter to this week and seeing what catches my eye. When you type in Flat Earth, you usually get mostly pro-Flat Earth. If you type in Earth is Flat, you will get some of the people that attack it. But the numbers, some of those videos are also very interesting. And the two that, of course, stick out, and I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the first one is Eric Dubé's video. Again, go to Eric Dubé's channel and check out his rap video, which he goes after Joe Rogan. It's solid, straight to the point, doesn't diverge into other avenues, and he comes at him. It's merciless. I love it. He goes after him, his paleontologist friend, and it was really, really good. I hope that Joe takes personal offense to it and counters, because that's what we need. We need a true Flat Earth enemy, or a series of enemies to come against Flat Earth. There's just so many people in Flat Earth now, and they're all very enthusiastic, and they all want to plead their case. But most of the time, you're preaching to the choir. A lot of the people that I hardly get any emails coming at me, almost none. In fact, I can't even remember what month that I got the last email from any sort of intellectual that wanted to take this whole thing down. It's just amazing. Yeah, of course they'll put, there'll be trolls in the comments that will go after it, but they won't come after me directly. Yeah, and again, I'm not bulletproof. Every once in a while, I will get a phone call that is, from usually a drunk person. It's usually 2 or 3 in the morning. I was like, I don't know, Flat Earth, you don't know me. Click, dial tone, and it's fun and all that. But look, I'd really love. Well, I kind of enjoyed the Shade 45 interview where we had first time Ball Earth reaction, where they were coming at me with guns blazing, and I'm actually enjoying those more than the allies at this point. We need a Flat Earth enemy. We need more Flat Earth enemies. So that's why I think cultivating the Joe Rogan thing, and I will, as long as he's going down that road. So anyway, Flat Earth for the week. What else has been going on in Flat Earth for the week? Glowbusters doing his thing. Flat Earth asshole going after Fisher of Men. He also went after a couple other guys. I can't remember. Shoe Off Head. There's 3 channels tied to that one. They're attacking Flat Earth still. It's like a 2-minute stupid parody. The guy's worthless. He's also the guy, Shoe Off Head. He's also the guy that does Armored Skeptic. The guy that he'll start attacking people, but only when he's got the mask on his face. You want to come after us? You come after us. You're not. You're weak. You're a coward, and you're not worth. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about you anymore. 2 Out of Love doing more stuff. Yeah, Flat Earth asshole versus Koi Fresco. That's another guy that made it, without doing any research whatsoever against us, attacking it. Russian Vids doing his more stuff. My Perspective. Rory Cooper doing a great little Flat Earth. What time is it? Follow up on issues. I would be a terrible person if I forgot to mention Celebrate Truth, and I'm going to go straight to his channel right now, and then I'm going to come back. He did a video called Scientism Exposed. It's a couple hours long. It is a great documentary. It is from a Christian perspective, no question. I mean, that's where his background is. But he released it yesterday. In fact, his channel shows scientific. It's actually very well done. The whole promo thing he's doing for it, it's excellent. I think he's even been running ads on YouTube for it. It's great. So, there's a great trailer for it. Again, if you're a Christian, of course, go to testingtheglobe.com by Rob Skiba, or check out Zen Garcia's work. But definitely check out Celebrate Truth. It's in Scientism Exposed. I commented on it. I thumbed up, and it is from a Christian documentary standpoint, it's way up there. And in fact, I added it to my Flat Earth shortlist. And Flat Earth shortlist only has like 20-something videos, and he's now in there. Let's see, Nathan Oakley doing Flat Earth UK. Quasi Lumina still cranking out the stuff. See, and we're gonna go one more page. See if there's anything interesting in here. More Quasi. There's me. Oh, I reproduced a one by Adam Carter on my channel called Flat Earth Smarts 10. It's the official title is Mapping 101, where he goes over some of the mapping issues For some of it's going to be review for some people that have been working on the maps, but it's interesting. It's kind of him putting it out to the layman, and I thought it was pretty good. Let's see what else. More quasi. Oh yeah, and then I did my 92nd and 93rd interviews, and 94th. I don't think it's going to be this month. Probably next month, as far as I know. Let's do one more page. New Horizons put out a new 2-hour thing. Oh, that was what I was going to mention to you guys. So New Horizons Annex, and I don't know. They've got another channel called New Horizons Extra, and in it, let me see if it's what I think is in here. I don't think it is. Sorry, 714. I am trying to answer you, but I cannot do it. There's something wrong with how I'm hooked up to the studio right now, and it will not let me add a group call. I will test it, though, after I'm done. I'm sorry, but tonight it's going to be only emails. Sorry to break it to you guys. So, anyway, let's get off Flat Earth news and go straight back into emails. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Sergeant Robert Malcolm Kane out of Cornwall, England, after his $1 million question, he also said, there's a reason I'm asking. The reason I'm asking is for my own personal reasons. I run a group on Facebook called Paranormal World. You're welcome to check it out. Thank you, Robert Malcolm Kane. So thank you, Robert, very much for that. Let's see here. Franklin writes, greeting, Mark. Now I've been a fan of yours since Rob Skiba mentioned you as to why he started to question our cosmos. I'm usually the kind of guy that tends not to be in the spotlight, so it was a struggle to write this email for you, but your last interview in Conspiracy Corner with Jim Harold was eye-opening for me. Not as to the fact that the Earth is not a sphere, but more pertaining to the future. When you said that the powers that be, knowing that human technological advancement would come, they prepared for it by giving us restrictions and theories. You have also been stating that the truth movement of our own cosmology is growing larger and larger. The lies and systems have been crumbling, so it stands to reason that they are also prepared for this contingency as well. Now I better understand Project Bluebeam, chemtrails, and ancient aliens. Steering our perception of reality is the name of the game, but steering it where and away or tours what? Or tours what? Well, if we look at what the powers that be tell us is one world system of faith, currency, and government, only one document warns of this, the Bible. Thank you for your service to humanity, and God bless Franklin. And yeah, Franklin, you got a point there, which is there a contingency for what's happening right now? Is it possible that the whole flat earth thing and the Mandela effect, the Mandela effect, the Mandelta effect, whatever you want to call it, that has been introduced to the public, are they all part of a grander plan? I've been saying this since last year, which is, yeah, it's very, very possible. Why not? The people at the highest levels of power are very, very smart, very intelligent people, very dangerous people as well. And also, if you believe there's a layer higher than them, which is the things that are flying around the sky and maybe even the ones that created this place, there's multiple plans in place. There's the layers are thick and complicated, and they overlap, and so be ready for anything, but don't be surprised. That's what I'm trying to get at is like this is a great chance for you to open your mind up and be ready for it instead of reacting with shock and a knee-jerk reaction. So let's see who's next. No name on this one. Wow is about all I can say right now. I've been watching other Flat Earth videos, and I'm really being tested to relook at what I've been fed for the last 57 years. Short and to the point. I agree with you. I don't know. I get a lot of those emails where people will, say, look, granted, most of the people that email me aren't young. That's for sure. Very few under 25, but I appreciate the ones that are older. I get a lot of emails from 60 and 70-year-olds that say, yeah, I thought I'd seen it all, and apparently I hadn't. And I would have thought that they would have been much harder to convince. The cement of their mind would have hardened, but they didn't. It got through, and that again shows you that it's a testament of what this theory is. And how far it can go. Let's see here. This one's from Jim Ordo Bacayo. Anyway, let's read it. Hey, Mark, longtime supporter and always enjoy your stuff. I'd like to ask you your thoughts on the Antarctic shoreline distance. Gleason's has it at 50,000 miles, roughly. And it seems like most people are pushing the idea that the circumference of the shoreline of Antarctica is around 50,000 miles. Personally, I think that just puts too much pressure on the flight times. So for whatever reason, I think this distance has been massively overestimated. Maybe. I'd love to know your thoughts on these numbers and feel free to discuss them with any of your associates. Everyone is equal in my eyes, and any pokes by me will always be with good intentions. I tried to imagine the best way to describe the thinking behind my distances, the best I could come up with. Imagine dropping, watch your spell checker, people, a pebble in the center of a puddle. The circles and waves oscillate outwards, getting bigger and bigger. I believe the tropics hold the key to size increase needed for a flat Earth. I was thinking, as you were the original plane flights guy, actually it was more Lawrence Wright than it was me, I was hoping you might take a look at how my figures might improve things for some of the flights. No pressure. Also, if you have seen anybody else put out videos with these numbers, please send them my way. I have had these numbers for, I'm guessing, 2 years. Having never seen these numbers discussed, which I thought was strange, as they are pretty darn simple, maybe they were debunked and I missed it. Anywho, the equation for circle expansion starting at the Tropic of Cancer, travel south 1,600 miles, increase circumference by 2,042 miles. Travel south 1,600 miles, another 24, and so on. You can do this 4 times before you hit the Antarctic shoreline. Circumference in miles. The Tropic of Cancer, 22,859. The Equator, 24,901. Capricorn, 26,943. And sorry, 425 area code. I'd love to pick you up, but unfortunately, the phone stuff is not playing well with others. I mean, I could try one more time just for the heck of it. Go in, say add people to this call. It doesn't even show. Doesn't show anything. Doesn't even show it up there. That is so weird. Yeah, sorry. So I hung up on him. Anyway, so he's throwing and then 701 calls. Guys, I'm trying. I really am. But yeah, in fact, it won't even pop it up on the list. Let's say if I say unread, what happens then? It takes a second for it to adjust. No. I'm just cycling through a whole bunch of calls right now. And if I go back and I say, sorry, I'm working here. Add people to this call. No, in fact, it's weird. It only shows up. No, won't do it. In fact, it's weird. I don't want to get into the problems of Skype now that Microsoft owns it. Like, for example, I was in Skype and I said, you can say, answer this call after 15 seconds, right? It'll go on 45 seconds, won't answer it. I change it to 10 seconds, doesn't change the duration at all. I have no idea what's going on there. Anyway, so this guy's talking about the Antarctic coastline. And he says, anyway, I'm going to send this to some others as well. You get first dibs on it. Keep up the good work. All the best. If you have found this interesting or have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any time. So he's trying to make calculations on how far it would get to be the Antarctic coastline. I don't know if you're going anywhere with this, though. The ice wall, the Antarctic coastline, he says around 31,000 miles. The South Pole at like 33. But again, you're making assumptions based on science information. Like, at 1, where exactly is the South Pole? 2, what does science say the Antarctic coastline is? What I think is more interesting is that even though Antarctica looks bigger, if you go to Google Earth, and it certainly looks bigger to me, it looks bigger than Australia, then why, when you also, you can find all sorts of data in Google Earth, why does it say that Australia is much larger than Antarctica? Are you taking into account the ice melted? Is the Antarctic continent not what they displayed it to be? Anyway, moving on. Christian writes, I watched your YouTube video on how Earth is flat, so correct me if I'm wrong. I watched a show on television about a railroad connecting Russia to Alaska and at their closest point according to the globe. According to the flat Earth theory, I don't think this tunnel would be possible. There's a railroad tunnel connecting Alaska and Russia? Is that actually happening? Peanut Gallery, look that up. Is that actually like a channel between England and France? They're actually doing one between Alaska and Russia. What would be the point? So, anyway, moving on. This one's called Hidden in Plain Sight. Mark, about halfway down in bold. Peggy Whitson, the oldest woman in space, blasts off to the ISS. Oh, that's awesome. Viewpoint. Is there glass ceiling in space? Unbelievable. All the best. Dell from Oxted, London. I have no idea what Dell was trying to say there. So, but he did send a link to the BBC that the oldest woman in space blasts off to AIS. And what is the oldest woman in space? What would that be, like 45? Anyway. Checking the Peanut Gallery stuff. Bill Gates just got an award, Presidential Medal of Freedom. As Antarctica, 5.405 million square miles. If you believe the globe, Australia, about 3. So that's what I thought as well. Yes, there is a Russia-Alaska tunnel being built. That's really strange. Why? What sort of commerce are you going to get up there between the most horrible part of Russia and the most horrible part of Alaska? Somebody figure that one out for me. Oof, that's awful. All right. Eric writes, hey guys, I caught your air traffic controller meets flight constructor on a flat earth video and heard the reference to Dale's Throne of God paper. I am requesting a copy of it. Can you email it to me or send me a link to a download? Thanks and keep up the good work, Eric. Yes, Eric, if you want it, it's on my desktop and I will be sure to send it to you. It's like 6 megs. It's not that bad. I haven't actually read through the entire thing. It is some pretty heady stuff. If you're ready for it, I will absolutely send it to you, though. All right. Missy writes, hello, I'm fairly sure your production was intended to reach me today. I haven't had time to watch it in its entirety. I never do this on YouTube videos, but I felt such a gratitude for your unique explanations. I am fairly certain I am the only regular average human being living who can comprehend what was being discussed on a level way beyond any conspiracy. I must make this short, as I do enjoy this plane that has been afforded to us today and gotta get some sunshine. I am uniquely connected to the originals. Ooh. The ones who created what we are in, whatever that may be. I was hurt this past year, and at a point when most would have simply decided to let go of life, I screamed and cried at the tip of my soul, mind and body combined in such pain that the creators that sent me eons ago heard me through the firmness of all unknown boundaries. Okay? I have a mission. I think, and the scenes and characters of this arena change. I've watched decades pass in the blink of an eye. I cannot say enough that how or if these things should disseminate the consciousness of the masses must be done in such a way not to destroy the entire concept. Too much good remains. However, changes need to be made so that the ones who are currently in possession can experience more than sorrow and pain. Limits need adjustments in many areas. Boy, you're preaching to the choir. What yet remains to be seen, much less how or who, when. It all becomes so complicated. I am blessed with this knowledge and wisdom pain has brought me to. Just want to let you know that the time you spent assembling this compilation has greatly benefited me personally today. Thank you. I will be watching more later, but fake or not, the sun is calling my name. God bless your efforts. Signed, the Holy Sparrow. Sparrow or Missy, whatever your name is. I think you got a point there, and I know some people are listening to this email going, "Whew, she's Fruit Loops." No, not at all. There's some people. I'll give women the benefit of the doubt when it comes to this stuff, and I think she's onto something there, which is this world has been in trouble for some time. We've been heading for the abyss in a car with no brakes. or at least a car which we don't want to use the brakes for whatever reason. We don't think it's necessary. And we've been doing it for a long time, and we've been hurting each other, and we've been hurting the world, and so very few people are happy that something needs to change, and it needs to change real soon, because if we don't, I think whoever built this place is going to intervene, and they are going to show us what we have been doing. And they will show us a perspective that explains in great detail to us what should be changed, and there's going to be some accountability. I firmly believe this. I have for some time, and the Flat Earth just reaffirmed it for me. So thank you for those emails, and it's not the first time I've gotten one of these, so that's great. Got a few minutes till the break. Sorry, let's go back to here. This one's called Time Walker Clocks. Oh yes, right. Hi Mark, check it out. Maybe you'd like my Flat Earth clocks. I've been making these for a year now. If you guys, there's other people making Flat Earth clocks, but I'm trying to be a man of my word. This one, you can go to timewalkerclocks.com. Kind of like Luke Skywalker, only with Time Walker. So timewalkerclocks.com. So anyway, I'm writing this because I'm giving away one free clock this year for Christmas. I was wondering if you might mention this promotion on your show. To win, all you got to do is like on my Facebook page on Time Walker Clocks, share and comment on the image which details the promotion. Keep it flat, brother. Ben LaRue, and you can guess where he's writing this from. Hey, it's timewalkerclocks.com. So really cool. Yeah, if you guys want to sign up for a Time Walker clock giveaway, I have not seen the clocks yet, but I'm sure if you go to the website, I'm sure they're very cool. Because you remember, the easiest thing you could ever do with a flat Earth icon is to turn it into a clock of some sort, because it's flat, it's round, and it's perfect for it. I currently have, now mine's from deep inside the rabbit hole, David Weiss, but I've got one right now, and it's still working. I actually had another clock sent to me, but it broke in shipping, which wasn't good. All right, moving on. This one's from, we'll do this one, and then we'll go to break. Let's see here. This one's from Patrick. Hi, sorry for the delay in getting back to you. He's from, I think he's from Sweden. Yeah, he's from Sweden. I went with my wife to the lecture our finest and only astronaut, Mr. Christer Fuglesang, held in our town. I didn't know Sweden had an astronaut, to be honest. He tells us about his training in Russia in Space City, outside of Moscow, and his training in Houston. He continued with the 2 missions he did to the ISS. He showed a lot of pictures, and of course, he was proud of what he achieved. He even mentioned that the rocket launch show that the Earth is round. The rocket launch shows that the Earth is round because of the arc they make. So the Earth can't be flat. That was his own words. Crazy, right? And then in the end, it was time for questions. I raised my hand and he pointed to me. I asked, how can a rocket change direction in the vacuum of space? He answered, we throw hot gas in the opposite direction and then we move the other way. I interrupted and said, what about the laws of physics? You have to have a force to push against, like our atmosphere, right? He simply answered, no, you don't have to do that in a vacuum. And then he pointed out to the next person in the audience. He got scared and dropped it. Just wanted you to know I have it on video. If you want, feel free to read this on your email shows. Just call me Poot, Putte from Sweden. Regards, Poot. And that's sent from his that from min iPad. All right. So we're going to go to break here in just one more minute. I just want to queue up the next email. I've actually gone through a lot of emails tonight. This next one, we're going to... Yeah, you know what? Let's do a quick call out to... Not a shout out, but a call out. Any subject matter experts. Any scientist that wants to come against me, you're going to have to get through Jeffrey Grubb first, because I promised him the first real debate. If anybody knows any scientist anywhere, please let them know. Also, by the way, if you want me to be interviewed on anybody's show, I don't solicit anybody. because most of the podcasts I go on, I don't know much about other people's podcasts. So if you want me to do somebody's podcast, please email them on my behalf. Say, hey, have you ever thought of interviewing Mark Sargent? Love to do. I don't think I've said no to anybody's show yet, not one. So let's do that. Come back to the final break.
It seems to me so strange. Check wallet for his name. His face is in the muck. I think his zipper's stuck.
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World. I'm your host, Mark Sargent. This is part 4 of 4. And yes, indeed, that was Joe Jackson stepping out from his album Night and Day. All right, let's get back to the emails because phone lines are not working tonight. I do not know why. I've had this every once in a while, and it is strictly a connection issue on my part. Nothing you guys are doing. I just can't merge the calls, but I will clear it up afterwards. I probably should have done a merge. I haven't done a merge test before a show in quite a while. It's been working with me. You guys know I've done tons of calls, but for whatever reason, not at the moment. Maybe it's just a reboot. I don't know. So this particular email is from Justin. Hi, Mark. Justin Yates from Sydney. I have watched all your clues as they came out and listened to most of your Strange World and Q&A emails. I must say I don't know if there is another conspiracy topic I have ever spent so much time on in my life. The last 2 years are a blur. Isn't that the truth, man? They are for me. Flat Earth and other hot potatoes is just annoying. Nice. Not your fault. LOL. Oh, come on. I'm on that show every once in a while. Once a week now. Now you can't attack Flat Earth and other hot potatoes. Just thought I would send you this link in case you haven't seen this before. He explains this quite well, I believe. Keep up the good work. And send me a link. Also, I didn't hear your YouTube email Q&A response to my last email, so I copied and pasted it below just in case you haven't seen this either. Okay, here we go. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. I have searched the internet for any information on the sun being larger during the summer. I haven't found anything even remotely referring to information regarding this. I think if there was some way to measure this, it could place a lot of credibility into the theory of the enclosed world flat earth model, especially where this could be something easily measurable by a lot of ordinary people that have the right equipment. Have you thought about, heard, or read anything regarding this yourself? Kind regards, Justin Yates from Sydney. Not Sydney, Canada, Sydney, Australia. And yeah, if you want, the guy I'm pointing, there's two people I point to now when it comes to the sun. There's more than that I could, but the top two that I point people at when everything that has to do with the sun, I point to is Zeteticism.com. That's Jeffrey Grupp. Geffrey Grupp. Just look up his last name, Grupp. Nobody's got the last name of Grupp. And Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, otherwise known as DITRH. That's the YouTube channel name. And the guy that runs that is David Weiss. There are plenty of videos between those two guys on the sun, specifically. I don't have any videos touching the sun specifically, but those two guys are real hot and heavy about it. So check it out when you get a chance. Let's see. Watch MIB investigates flat Earth, flat water, sun, moon, and stars on YouTube. Hey, Mark, it's Jeff Q. I was on a few of your email shows and was talking about creating a channel, and well, I did. Please watch and share. And it is called, I'm just going to it right now so I don't screw this up, MIB Investigates. So it's called MIB space Investigates. Awesome. Cool. And I'll thumb it up right now. The first thing, it investigates flat Earth, flat water, sun, moon, and stars. Awesome. Thank you very much, Jeff Q. Ben writes, can you, yeah, of course, I'm sorry, it was the time walker clocks. I'm going to mention it one more time for the heck of it, because the guy, he was pestering me for a while this week. So Ben at Time Walker Clocks, you guys want to sign up for a free clock? He's giving away one this Christmas, and it'd be a cool gift. I think a clock is a wonderful flat Earth gift because it's up on your wall, and it's a wonderful conversation piece. Also look at the ones from deepinsidetherabbithole.com. David sells a whole bunch of stuff. I don't have any merchandise to sell. I kind of wish I did sometimes, except for my book. But anyway. Let's see. Jay writes, hey, Mark, I've been watching a lot of your YouTube videos. I've also spent a ton of time watching other Flat Earth videos recently. I am a believer. That said, what do you think the next step for this is? I feel like no matter how many YouTube, sorry, people that are calling in right now, I still can't merge the call. Can't do it. That said, what do you think the next step is for us? I feel like no matter how many YouTube videos and others watch, that's all it will be. YouTube videos. It's the realm of the conspiracy theory, where while there obviously has been a long-term cover-up, I do not view Flat Earth as a conspiracy theory. That's categorization. To me, that categorization to me is an insult. This is serious scientific endeavor. Find funding, create scientific study, try to publish. This is how every scientific breakthrough has occurred. Eventually, too many studies proving the same thing in peer-reviewed journals are hard to denounce. Interesting idea. My problem with what I've seen is that many of the proponents of this theory convolute their message with other ideologies or prejudices. I have to sift through the anti-Semitism, the anti-science, anti-evolution, staunch pro-Bible, pro-religion, anti-some religions. You get what I'm saying. A lot of side theories regarding a bunch of stuff that blurs the lines between good point and BS or bigotry. Condemning science and exposing bigotry doesn't help you join the conversation. I know you don't do this, which is why I'm reaching out to you specifically. So my email to you, which is 100% I know you've thought of, where are the scientific studies? I'm not referring to amateur YouTube experiments. I don't believe you guys can endlessly make YouTube videos forever. Oh, don't be so sure, because this is Strange World episode 80. All right, and I've done pretty much nothing but Flat Earth videos. Patricia Steer has done nothing but Flat Earth videos. Jeranism is doing Flat Earth. Rob Skiba is focusing on Flat Earth. More and more people are getting into Flat Earth. I know what you're asking for. He goes, you're not bored already? Nope, because every day I see more and more people getting into this. He goes, do you have a lead spokesperson to actually break the barrier to mainstream? Mainstream equals success. So it does actually have to happen. Yes, and you're absolutely right. Right now, I've done more interviews than anybody else in the Flat Earth, and I'm getting closer. Everyone know it. I've made it so easy to get a hold of me between my email address, my phone address, my physical address. I am super easy to find, but right now, mainstream is still holding off. Yeah, here's the part that kind of concerns me. When B.O.B. came out, remember, he was a Grammy-nominated singer, rapper, whatever. And he wouldn't answer his phone after that. Every publication, literally every publication out there covered that story. The rap battle between Neil deGrasse Tyson and B.O.B. And yet, when that happened, he wouldn't talk to him. It's like there's free press everywhere. Everyone from Time Magazine to Wall Street Journal to Esquire to Public Radio to you name it. National Geographic. I mean, everybody was trying to get a hold of him, and he wouldn't pick up the phone to talk to him. He had interviews lined up from here till doomsday, and he didn't do it. You got to wonder why. That was really interesting, I thought. On the flip side, I've not turned down a single interview so far, and I have done a bunch. Have I gotten bored with them? No. Do I want more exciting interviews? Yes, I do. I want people to come at me at this point. I've done the rah-rah team thing enough to where, I want the enemy. I want somebody to challenge me and from the scientific community. Unfortunately, and like you were saying here, look, you're not going to get a scientist to jump on with flat Earth because his career is over. That's how much conditioning this thing is. Flat Earth is the only conspiracy that could end your scientific career in an afternoon. That's how powerful flat Earth is. You can talk about aliens. People say, oh, alien, that's pretty interesting. Debate it with astronomy people because there's still, Neil deGrasse Tyson will talk about aliens. And other scientists will talk about the potential of extraterrestrial life. You try to talk about flat Earth, though, that is tough because then you're really getting into an argument that's as old as government, which is the argument between church and state. That's really what it comes down to, and why science won't touch this, because science and church, religion and science will not ever see eye to eye. Not without an external force stepping in. They won't do it on their own. Science does not tolerate religion, and religion hates science for what they have done to them. And that's what it really comes down to. So you can't open this discussion up, because once you do, if you're any sort of scientist, I don't care, we'll just pick a geologist, right? You back it even for a second, you're basically admitting God right then and there. And that's beyond taboo in the science world. You're just not going to be allowed to do it. So yeah, it is going to have to come down to the grassroots. It is going to have to come down to the YouTube channels and the web posts and the online web zines and the podcasts. And so far, it's been expanding a great deal. Look at the subscribership base. Mine's gone up considerably since the beginning of the year. So has, everybody in the Flat Earth community. What was Eric DeBay was, he's going to hit 70,000 subscribers here. That's pretty incredible considering he's focusing on Flat Earth and he's pretty negative half the time. There's a lot of great, traction with this thing. And there's a lot of people, even the big players in YouTube, million plus subscribers, they're addressing it. Yeah, they're making fun of it, of course, but they're still addressing it, which means they're giving it exposure. That's the big thing. That's what I'm going for, which is the 100th monkey effect. The 100th monkey effect says once you hit critical mass, the topic then becomes something you can talk about without ridicule, where people can actually have frank discussions about it. Oh, yeah, they may be heated discussions, but I think that's really where we are now, where, it's degrees of separation. Which is, yeah, you may not know somebody that's into flat Earth, but I bet you know somebody that knows somebody, and that's where I think we're headed to. Once that happens, I think there'll be a fundamental shift in the way people think, and at that point, space and all the programs associated with it and all the high-end sciences, they will be diminished greatly in their influence, and then eventually just phased out. That's what I think anyway. That, of course, glass half full. Or it could, turn into a doomsday apocalypse, Book of Revelations type thing, which is also very possible. All right, moving on. Let's do a few more emails anyway. Let's see if we can close out the night with emails. I'm sorry, guys, but you want a silver lining? I don't have to do an email show tomorrow because I get to read all your fun emails. And please, by the way, email me. Anyone that wants to have their email read on air, as long as you're coherent and aren't rude, send an email to me at that's M as in Mark, SARGENT 23 at Comcast.net. I've had that email address now for some people actually made fun of me. It's like, oh, you have Comcast, blah, blah. It's like, come on. I've had that email address since 95, I believe. Problem is everyone shuts it down so fast. So many questions, debates, and beliefs flare up so fast I can't even begin to answer or calmly conversate to show the open doors people don't even look in the direction of. If this is really your contact from this video, I'm definitely here to help spread the word, waiting for instructions. And this is from Jadonte, J-D-O-N-T-E Devers, D-E-V-E-R-S. And yeah, man, just spread the word. But be careful who you're talking to about it. Come at them sideways. Don't come at them head on. Don't go to your family during a dinner. Don't do it. I know you want to, but don't do it. Don't sit down at the table and say, you know what? Flat Earth, that's a real thing. They will look at you like you have a praying mantis literally sitting on your forehead. That's how bad it'll be. And then they'll start laughing. And then you'll feel bad about yourself. And then, you'll get a DUI. This one's from Eden. Sorry, it's not Eden. Ed. Hey, Mark, I was looking at your video about Flat Earth. Very interesting. I'm wondering if is any original image or video online with the Flat Earth from space. Oh, God. He hasn't gotten far enough. But I do get questions like this. Are there any pictures of the Flat Earth? No, of course there are no pictures of the Flat Earth. It'd be the most valuable picture. The single picture, of course, you'd have to, we're so good with Photoshop now, somebody could produce a really, really high-end picture of Flat Earth, and would it be different from the real thing once we actually saw it? I don't know. But no, there's no pictures of Flat Earth from space. Besides, you also have to believe that there's space. Sorry, 334 area code, you're calling in. I cannot merge calls right now. I am going to try to fix this after the show is over. But for this show, I am reading emails only. So 334, stop calling. Also, what's the main reason that NASA is not telling us the truth about the flat Earth? Thanks, Ed. Ed, I don't know what you saw so far, but I think every once in a while someone will email me after they've watched the introduction. They haven't watched all the clues yet. By the time you get to like clue or 5 or 6, you pretty much know why they're not doing it. And the big reason, I won't get into it too much, watch Flat Earth Clues, which is they're trying to hold on to power. You can't be the ultimate authority if you're not the ultimate authority. Meaning, if the United States government, I'll just use them as an example, didn't build the dome that we live in, and they didn't, then they're not the highest power, which means the respect that they would normally command is not there. And that's really the long and the short of it. They don't want to risk that. They're not going to. Men rarely give up power. It's an old saying, but it's very, very true. And the analogy I used in one of my last interviews was that it's the same reason why the United States Air Force doesn't admit that there's UFOs, because the UFOs are better than them, a lot better. Our fighter planes can't even begin to touch what UFOs can do. Even our secret stuff isn't as good as their stuff. So if you don't control the skies, you don't tell people you don't control the skies, because then it's the ever burning question. Well, who does control the skies? So there you go. That's my answer for that. Can we finish this list before the time goes? How much time I got? I got 10 minutes. I think I can get them. Okay, dear Mark Sargent, I've been listening to you for a while now after seeing your Flat Earth clues. I've since done a lot of research and pretty convinced you are right. But I've always been very into the UFO and abduction phenomena, particularly the experiences of Whitley Strieber. I've read all his books, and I was almost certain this man was speaking about real events, but now I don't know what to think. How do experiences like those of Mr. Strieber fit into the flat Earth theory? I'm curious what you think. Could these beings be the creators of the dome? Yes, they absolutely could. And no, I don't think any of the UFO stories, with the exceptions of the one saying they were from Venus or Mars or Jupiter or Uranus or whatever, I think everything else, all the spaceship stories are real. I think they're absolutely legit because, yes, I think they're in here with us. You don't need to be from another planet to have a ship that works on the unified field engine. That's really all it is. We're talking about Jetsons cars here. And don't think I haven't noticed that new Jetsons commercial. It's just annoying. Using the whole Jetsons intro, the old from the 60s. Yeah, flying cars. I've mentioned it enough. Why don't we have flying cars now that run on the unified field theory? We don't, because if we tried to build them, if we introduced them to the public, the entire economy would collapse, because everything we have right now is based on the internal combustion engine, which is based on the petroleum industry. If you try to replace that, the infrastructure collapses and it all goes sideways in a hurry. It doesn't mean we can't get rebuilt, but anyway, his last question is also, have you ever looked into the possibility that the planets and stars we see do exist somewhere far outside the dome? Yeah, of course I thought about it, but I don't believe it. I think it's a planetarium. No different. I think they're just lights in the sky. If you look into not to do too much biblical stuff tonight, but there was a line I noticed in Celebrate Truth's documentary, which I mentioned earlier, where he was showing a Neil deGrasse Tyson quote saying that when the Bible talks about the stars falling from heaven in the book of Revelation, which I was impressed that Neil deGrasse Tyson actually knew that he's saying, well, you shouldn't take that as literal. And yet the Christian community is saying, oh, absolutely, you're going to take that as literal. And if it is literal, then those stars cannot be giant balls of gases that are hundreds of thousands of miles wide. They have to be real, real small, and they got to be attached up there somehow, like a ceiling, so that the book of Revelation is just a crumbling ceiling. All right. My voice is starting to go a little bit. Sorry, guys. I was also talking all day. Okay, let's do this one. This one's from The Guardian. Tony. Mark, been listening to you for a while now. Very intrigued by the flat earth topic and first decided to look into it because of NASA debunking video, which clearly showed flawed pictures of the earth, particularly the same image over and over with the clouds never moving. Anyhow, I was just thinking, if the world was indeed flat, then how do we account for the 365 days a year instead of the old understood view of 360 days? Supposedly, the 365 came because that's how long it takes Earth to fully orbit the sun. But if the Earth is indeed flat, then it does not orbit the sun, and instead the sun is inside this fixture we call the firmament. How do we can account for the 365 days? Well, how did we change it when we were in a solar system? You just change it when it's not a solar system. Same thing. When you begin to ponder this, then you can get to the point where you realize our seasons have been changing and some claim is due to climate change, but what if it's because we have our days wrong, and so when we think winters come early, it's really because our days are skewed to the point that spring, summer, fall, and winter are falling in different days than our 365-day calendar. What are your thoughts on the subject? No, I'm not on board with what you got there. I don't think this is. I think climate change is actually because we, the industrialized nations, have been figuring out ways to alter the weather somewhat, and this enclosed system has been fighting it. No different than if you were trying to run like a lantern, like a propane lantern inside a car and try to have the air conditioner on. Sooner or later, that air conditioner is going to fight the temperature that propane lantern is cranking out there. So yeah, that's why things happening. This one's from Wayne. Hi, Mark. I did try to call in, but you weren't in. I've been following your work. Great info. You may be interested in marking a new video. On the 20th of November, a program aired called Planet Earth 2 by David Attenborough. This was on BBC One in the UK. I'm not sure which channel will be on with you, but in the last 10 minutes of the program, you will see a second sun or Planet X or whatever goes by. It's in 2 to 3 scenes. If you get a chance, please take a look and see what you think. Keep up the good work, Wayne. Yeah, somebody grab that, because in the United States, we don't get all the British programs. We get some on public broadcasting, PBS, of course, and if you have BBC America, some of those, but we don't get a lot of the British programming. So thank you. Michael writes, my non-flat earth believing sister sent me these 2 photos today. They are the east coast of Florida. Just look at the curve of that horizon. Yeah, and the picture showed no curve at all. It's hilarious. I was amazed that was there. Let's see, 5 minutes left. I think I can get these last ones. I think I got 3 or more I wanted to do. Robert writes, so I've been researching flat earth for a couple of months. I'm in. I totally know it's flat from the research I've done. It seems to match up with the Bible nicely. It doesn't matter how you present it to most people. They all think I am crazy. Made the big mistake of telling people at work, oh man, what are you doing? So the bottom line is that we know the truth, but making people see the facts is rough. They always go back to NASA and stupidity. Thanks for your insight, though. Robert Morency. And he sells trucks. Jeez, you're gonna talk flat Earth with the plaid boot wearing, baseball cap wearing crowd. You're selling Freightliners, Sterling, Western Star. That's rough. The construction crowd. Look, I've got my brother-in-law is in construction, and I've worked for a construction company. I know these guys, well, and this is not something you bring up to them. These are meat and potato guys. This is the last thing you want to do. Hey, 334 area code. Look, dude, I cannot match up your call right now. Sorry. Some people, maybe he's not listening to the show right now. All right, last 2. And then hopefully, and then it's the end of the show. Hey, Mark, I sent a text to your phone number that you have listed, but it probably doesn't receive text. I've been listening to you for over a year now, and it recently occurred to me I think we live really close to each other. I'm near 88th Street in Washington. If you'd like to shoot me a text sometime, my phone number is blah, blah, blah. My family and I are always fascinated by not being surrounded by like-minded individuals. To know that you might be my neighbor is pretty compelling. All the best. Take care, David Bowman. Yeah, that would be normally the case, 88th in Washington. However, that 72 area code, which I got, was when I was living in Boulder, Colorado. And right now I am splitting my time between Seattle, Washington, and lovely Victoria, Canada, which I will be heading up there soon. If anyone doesn't know where Victoria is, it is just west of Vancouver. Very, very nice place. Lovely people. I suggest all, you want an interesting place in Canada to take a trip, that's where I would go. All right. One more email, and then we're going to do subject matter expert list, and then we're going to wrap it up. Okay, this one's from Daniel. Hey, Mark, I'm a 51-year-old professional who has consumed your Flat Earth clues. It's hard for me to convey how impressed I was. I would love to work with you in some capacity and hope you'll read the attachment titled with your name. And I have not read this, and I'm not going to open it up right now. Thank you, Daniel. Wow. Can't believe I actually got through them all. And I was not in the mood to do that because my voice was not 100%, but that's okay. Sometimes these things happen, and like I try to tell others, the show must go on. Okay, so couple things I want to get out there. First is, because I haven't done this in a little while, the subject matter experts. If anyone wants to talk about anything in the transportation industry or anything that you think might help prove the flat Earth, we have had United States Navy missile instructor, United States Air Force navigator, Marine Corps sniper instructor, Navy submarine chief, U.S. Army artillery radar operator, Australian intelligence officer, American flight instructor, industrial engineer specializing in valves and seals, career surveyor of over 32 years, international shipping expert, corporate travel agent, air traffic controller, U.S. Army master gunner, aviation and ground training combat expert, U.S. DA surveyor, 32nd degree Mason, etheric science researcher, commercial airline captain, and a merchant marine. I'd love to have more of you guys. So if anyone wants to refute or confirm what these guys have said, they're all on Strange World shows, which is on Truth Frequency Radio. Please do listen to them. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. I forgot to do this last week. 10 Commandments, I don't have them memorized. What I try to tell people is, treat others better than you treat yourself. The world will be a better place. See you next time, guys.
Evie, what is this? What is this? Is that a model of the flat geocentric Earth? Nice.
I had to make a new one. What are you doing?